right, so this is the exact 5061 that's for sale. And I want to point out you see the bridge now? Nicely applied to the top. So the video you're about to see following this, which is me playing the guitar through She Talks to Angels, which is in an alternate tuning. It's an open E tuning, and I would like it because it definitely allows the guitar to ring. And you get to hear some really nice open sounds of the guitar. But in doing that video, you'll be able to see at a certain point when I flipped the guitar that the bridge was lifting off the top. I had one other occasion where I had a Alvarez L03. It was wood. It was wood. Of course, it was wood. It was walnut and spruce, and I really liked that guitar. I think I paid $800 for it. I think I got a good deal. Bought it around Christmas time, and I had it for a couple of years. And I had a couple other guitars I was playing more, and I put it up on Reverb and I sold it. And apparently, when it got there to the guy, I hadn't detuned it in shipping, and it was sent in the wintertime. And unfortunately, the bridge lifted off that guitar some. And they usually, try to slide a piece of paper or something underneath it to see if, and it was lifted up and over a wide area like this. I would say arguably the bridge would have held on there for a long time, but I wouldn't want to ship it and then have it get to you and you be upset because it's a $150 repair. If you take it to a guitar shop and you have them repair it, they're charging by the hour. And for me to do it myself at home, I have the call to glue the bridge back on, and then it's just clean up. And I'm more careful because it's my guitar. If I do a shitty job, I lose money on the guitar. And it's not like an incredibly expensive guitar, although it is incredibly rare. There is no other 5061 from 1979 on the web at all. There is a 5064 Rivington Guitars in New York City. It's currently listed for $899. That's from 1976. It's a 5064. It looks exactly the same, but I can't tell you the difference, if there's any appointment differences between the two guitars at all. Could be going out of tune, so I had to tune it up. But in any case, this is the guitar. It's in great shape. This is the one you're buying for under whatever you're going to pay for this, under $500 probably. It's an awesome guitar. I mean, I have a whole bunch of guitars, and you can watch them on my channel, that just don't sound like this. They're not as nice. This is a well-made guitar from the late 1970s. It's made in Japan. Take a look at the neck. See the action to the top. It's nice and low. It only gets a little bit higher behind, beyond like the 17th fret. And on the saddle, there's a lot of room there. The only thing these older guitars do get a little blowing back here, and you can remedy that. Just keep it. I mean, right now the action's great. It's set up. Just keep it humidified. Get yourself, for $25, buy yourself some of the D'Addario Humidipacks, especially in the wintertime. If you live in the Northeast, I don't know who's going to buy this. In the Northeast, it's humid most of the year, with the exception of the wintertime when we turn on the forced hot air and then you need to humidify your guitars. But this guitar is in really good shape. There was only one issue. Again, when I reapplied the bridge, it happens. I was using the spatula, and there's a tiny little piece of the finish that I'm going to touch up to make it as an invisible repair as possible. The DY74 video that's on my website here, my YouTube video site, you can see the bridge was removed, replaced, and it was not as much care was taken. And I don't know why. but it's set up perfectly. It plays fine. I'm not worried about the bridge ever coming off, but I am somebody who does care about the aesthetics of something. And when you have a vintage guitar like this, even though it's not incredibly expensive, I still took a lot of care in replacing the bridge back onto the guitar. And I will clean it up a little bit, just to make sure there's no stuck on glue onto the bridge that needs to come off before it gets to you. So that's my goal. Again, the action is set up really nicely, and there's room. You get some of these older guitars and they can be set up perfectly, but there's really no room when the humidity changes and you get a little bit of changing in the neck, and then you have to start working with the truss rod. I'll have a video up on a D16 Martin that was amazingly set up, but it was set up only for a medium gauge string. When I try to put a lighter gauge string on there, it would bust because it didn't put enough tension on the neck, right, to create the bowing of the neck a little bit. So there's room for you to set this up however you want. This is set up how I like it. I'm not a shredder, but I do have some, in Layla. Whatever. So you can play leads on this guitar with how it's set up. And I'm cold. I haven't been playing. I've been working most of the day, and I'm just doing this video because I want to get it out and added onto the auction so that you know what you're buying. That's the biggest thing for me, is know what you're buying. I had the one bad experience where a guitar came out. I was unaware that it had any issue with the bridge. I've never had a guitar. Actually, that's true. I had a classical guitar where I started humidifying it, and then it popped the bridge off the top, and fortunately there was no damage to the guitar at all, and I reapplied that bridge and it's been stable ever since. But humidify your guitars. Keep it in that stable humidity environment where you're not playing it. Put it in this case with the Dario packs, and this guitar will last you. This guitar will last longer than us, probably, right? So it's already from 1979. It's still in fantastic condition. It plays and sounds nice. You'll see I have other videos with other guitars of the $300 new range that just don't compare, and that's why you buy a used guitar. But that's why the condition of the used guitar matters. You're buying a 40-year-old guitar, you want to know that there's no issues here where the neck attaches to the body. There's no issues with playability of the guitar. There's absolutely no dings on the back of the neck. The headstock has a couple little minor doohickeys on there, but I stopped caring about those kind of things on my guitars too. It came in when I bought it from the guy who was clearing out his collection, and I was just so curious about this guitar, which is the reason why I bought it. And part of the reason for me buying it is to do videos like this, to chronicle them and save it for posterity. So anybody who goes, hey, what was that 5061? Well, this is it. And somebody will find my YouTube video, and you can see it's a mahogany back and sides. I think when I had the original video up, I was confused because the coloring of this was very similar to the DY74, which is rosewood. And then the first time I had the auction up, somebody corrected me and said, no, bro, that's definitely mahogany. So I'm going to continue to go with what that guy said and say this is a mahogany back and sides. There's mahogany on the inside of the body. That's interesting. I mean, what you usually can try to find is if it's a laminate, there'll be a connection point where you can see that there were pieces of wood that were laminated together. Now, there's different levels of laminate. The laminate on the Hohner guitar was a laminated top, and it was actually the pulling of the bridge was delaminating that first layer, and it deformed, and that one had a catastrophic failure kind of the top as a result. Now, I've glued that back together as a playable guitar now, but it's not pretty because it delaminated that first layer, and then, to try to get that first layer to glue back down was, without it making it a little bit gluey, ugly, was not good. Now, this didn't have any of that issue at all. So, I mean, I still can't, without the specs, I don't know if this is a solid top guitar knot, but the difference with the laminates from the time coming out of Japan versus a Hohner made in China is they're laminating the same wood to itself, and they're doing it to make it a more stable situation for the instrument versus it being a cheaper process for manufacturing guitars, which is what we find coming out of China. It's a cheaper manufacturing process. And then you have an issue like that where, like, this guitar is a two-piece. You know, they did use a joint here, so this isn't a solid carve. They do use a scarf joint on this guitar. Taylor uses that on almost all their guitars except for like their 800 series and up, I guess. So, you know, really nice guitar. It sounds beautiful. It's no electronics on this guitar at all. It's just an acoustic guitar. I had the DY74 guy had installed a K&K pickup, which sounds great on that guitar. So if you want to look for that, maybe you install your own pickup in the guitar. But again, you know, everything about this guitar, it looks really clean. There's only a couple cosmetic issues, but you have to hunt for them to see them. So hang in here, or you skip up to when I play She Talks to Angels. Please do listen through it. I spent a lot of time trying to get that right without constantly screwing it up. I must have done it like 30 times. You know, you start video and then you make a mistake and you just have to start over again. I think I had like 30 tries of that first little doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, that little riff that you're going to hear. But just so you know, I put a little extra time into that so that you get a good idea of what's going on with the instrument you're buying. So it's a big deal, you know. If it comes in and you're not happy with it, it's not going to be because I didn't provide you with the information on it. So thank you very much for looking. Hang in there. You can go right into me playing more on this guitar so you can hear what it sounds like. Thanks.